Hey everybody, Donkey Storm here, and today we're going to do some Guardian Druid commentary for Halls of Atonement plus 20 on Tyrannical, Necrotic, Spiteful. It's far from a perfect run, but it has some good learning moments, especially about how you need to take risks to save a doomed key. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe as always to see more WoW content. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so I am running this dungeon as Kyrian. But I am not using the Kyrian Legendary. I'm using UFR instead. It's Necrotic week. UFR is just too hard to pass up. The file is really nice to have to drop your stacks, though. And then as far as a bonded partner goes, in a group with no melee, I like Frost Mages. They're very consistent damage. You hit that bond pretty much off cooldown, and you can't really go wrong. So that's going to be my strategy here. Now as we start the dungeon, we're going to be doing a rather large pull. We're going to grab these Dark Blades. We're going to pull them over to the Shard. We're going to have our Hunter CC the Houndmaster to the right so that those Gargans don't pat into this, because that can be really dangerous. We're going to grab the Shard and all of his friends, as well as the Groundskeepers, and we're just going to lust. We're going to collect sins, and we're going to blow this stuff out of the water. On a Tyrannical week, I feel pretty safe doing this. On a fortified week, you're going to have to think about affixes, you're going to have to think about group comp and decide if this is the right way to go for you. But as you can see, Tyrannical with Incarn running, not too bad. And as you can also see with Incarn running, you can safely go really high on your stacks. I think I'm just letting them continue to stack up here, and then once I feel like I'm in danger, yeah, I'll just Typhoon, run away. No big deal. Didn't even bother with the file there. So one big mistake I do make here, and I was talking to the Shaman in Discord. He's the only other player in this group that I know. As we were putting the key in, I said, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I forgot to bond with anybody on pull. So big miss there. So I'm going to have to bond with the mage after this pull's over. Got 0 value out of that on the first pull here. Pretty big mistake, but definitely not something we can't overcome. So we'll blow this pull up, and the Houndmaster never got CC'd again, so we're going to jump on that. There are routes where you can just completely go around the Houndmaster, but in a pug, I tend to avoid that and just kill this guy and his Gargans. Note about Gargans, please respect these mobs. Regardless of key level affix, they will chew you up. I see a lot of tanks in the keys I do on my other characters that just like try to face tank these, and I do not do that, and I don't recommend that you do it either. They hurt bad, and if Loyal Beast ever goes off, do not be in there. You will die. So respect these guys. They hurt a lot. I would even venture to say I'm taking too much damage from them as is. So stay away. Just stay away from them. Halls of Atonement is really all about combining trash pulls, since you get such a large trash count before you pull any bosses in here. And since the trash is pretty weak, you never want to just be fighting one thing. And the trash itself isn't too bad. Dark Blades do this thrust that you can just sidestep and point away from your group. The Obliterators you can just kind of kick whenever kick is up, and you can help dispel curses as well. When this Houndmaster gets over here, I'm just going to kind of lump him into this pull too. We have the Gargan going, and nothing too scary is going on. So we're feeling pretty good about this, about being able to do this. Now my stacks are getting pretty high here. Yeah, so time to bail out. Typhoon, use my file to drop my stacks and hop back in there. But there are still Gargans, so I'm not going to hop in for too long. I don't want the healer to go while I face tank these. So again, respect the Gargans and just stay away. Your group can take them. If you've got a Frost Mage like we do, you can literally just like walk backwards and get away from them and be fine. They're dying exceptionally slow here, but that's how it goes sometimes when cooldowns aren't up. So we're saving Incarn for the next pull, obviously, with the Shard and the other mobs. We always want to get the most out of Incarn, and a pull like this just is not a good place to use it. And these are taking an absolute year to go down. But there they go. even though our DPS is pretty solid, but I don't know, that pull took forever. I think everybody must be saving cooldowns for this. So we're going to pop Incarn here. We're going to grab pretty much everything, including the groundskeepers. They're just nice percent. When you're blowing all your cooldowns, you might as well just kind of lump them in here too. You collect sins here. Just dodge the stuff on the ground and go to town. So we do have our bond rolling. We have Incarn rolling. We're not concerned at all about necrotic stacks here because of Incarn. As you can see, Incarn with UFR just completely negates it. Now, once I see Incarn starting to drop, we dip out, we let those fall off, and we get back in again. No harm done. Looks like our mage got hit by something. Probably a Spiteful. Spiteful is like a low tier, or I guess low key, really bad affix. It's like doing dungeons in the mud because it just slogs you down. Like after every single pull, you've got these ghosts hanging around, and in a pug, people don't always seem to realize that the way to deal with Spiteful is to just not deal with Spiteful. Typhoon it, root it, Frost Nova it, and just run around it. Get away from it. Don't waste time killing it. That's where it really hurts your timer. And I think our group actually suffers from that quite a bit here. Also note that some of these pulls seem to be taking quite a long time. So, little spoiler alert on this dungeon. Things are not going to be going super well. And we're going to have to find a way around that. And we're just, the only reason we're messing with this Spiteful is that we're making sure the Druid has mana. He says he's good, so we grab Varuth. And do the usual Varuth saying of stack, spread. But yeah, I do feel like Spiteful really bogged us down here. I don't think we did a good job of working around it. And like I said, the way to work around it is just don't deal with it at all. CC it, but don't kill it if you can help it. This is not my favorite affix, and what I find most annoying about it is like the way that it prevents you from progressing through certain dungeons, like mists. You can't go through the walls. Spires, you can't get on the angel. I think that's kind of BS. I think we should be able to continue to move through these areas, even if Spiteful's up. Alright, so with Varuth going down, we're going to be heading back over to the right. We're going to get our nice little Stygian King's Barbs. That's going to do tons of work in here with all the AoE going on. We're going to grab the Darkblade and Obliterator from the center here. We're going to pull them over with the other Darkblade and Obliterator on the top of the stairs and just take these guys down. We're going to face them away from our group so that they don't cleave everybody. Not a huge problem in this group because we don't have any melee, but it's good practice nonetheless, because you do get your, random ranged players standing in melee sometimes for reasons that make sense and sometimes for reasons that don't, but that's how it goes, and they can get cleaved just like anyone else, so we can turn them away. No real fear of necrotic here. We're just gonna take this group down. And you can always combine more packs based on your comfort level here. I would say we pulled this dungeon standard, fairly conservatively, definitely in a way that gives a group an opportunity to time the key. So we have Incarn up, and that means it's time to grab some stuff. So we're going to grab a couple packs here, the Gargans and the Obliterator and Darkblade, and we'll just grab that Groundskeeper for good measure as well. Anytime Incarn's up, we want to use it. If we can get value out of it. I hate to sit on that cooldown. I hate sitting on any cooldowns really, but you never want to miss an Incarn over the course of a dungeon, because that's a pretty big missed opportunity, unless you have a really good reason to, I don't know if I can survive the next pull without it kind of reason. Now, when Incarn gets to about 5 seconds left and Necrotic is up, we dip out, we Typhoon, and just back up. And once that's off, we can head back in. Now, when Sagadon is in this spot here, I think it's a good idea to take him pretty early. Stone Ward's a nice power to have for the shards, so why not just grab him right now? So we'll take on old Soggy Bottom Boy here and grab his Anima power. So one thing that's going to be kind of a theme of this video is taking risks. You're going to see here after Halkias that we're going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as timer goes. And that's when, as a tank, you need to ask yourself, what risks do I need to take to get this key timed? What are the risks that I can take, and which ones do I think make the most sense? So that's going to be kind of a theme here. I see a lot of tanks take really unnecessary risks. Like, if you're 10 minutes ahead of schedule, unless your goal is like, hey, we need to +3 this key for some reason. If your goal is just to time the key and you're way ahead of schedule, you don't necessarily need to do like big crazy pulls if you're not sure your group can handle it. But if you know you're behind, then you don't want to play too conservatively, because all you're going to do is ensure that you're not going to time the key. That's when you need to start taking risks. We're going to find ourselves in that situation here in a few minutes. But until then, we got this one group. Now, like I said, I do hate pulling one group in here, but it's a little dangerous to lump these guys in with the shards, just because there's a lot of damage going out. So we're just going to play it safe and do the one group here, because I do feel like at this point we're doing okay on time. Not great, but good enough. Halkias and Echelon are really going to be where we lose a ton of time. So we grabbed that Stoneborn. I think it was by accident. So it's kind of time to go here. We want to get some use out of him on this pull where you really want him. We're going to kick the Collector. We don't need percentage from the Groundskeepers here, so we're going to leave them alone. And we're just going to... So we're in a kind of an awkward spot here. We got Incarn coming up in 3 seconds. And I think I'm going to use it immediately. That's questionable. This pull is already like halfway dead. On the other hand, if I don't use it here, I'm probably not going to use it all the way until the next... the pull right before Halkias, which is quite a long time to sit on your Incarn, so I think it could have gone either way. Maybe if I was really afraid of that pull, I would consider saving it, but since I'm not on a Tyrannical week, even if it is Necrotic, we just go ahead and use it. We did get the full duration use out of it, and I think that's the main thing. So taking this shard down, and then we're going to turn around and start making our way over to Halkias. Dodging Sinquake, of course, and managing Necrotic. The Kyrian, one thing to think about if you're going Kyrian on a Necrotic week with Mechanicos, you don't want the trait that uses your Kyrian files automatically. It's on the, I think it's the second trait. Now, by losing this trait, you lose a potency conduit. So there is that. But if you have that trait, it's going to use your files anytime you are at 35% or below. So then when you need them to drop your stacks, you might not have them, which really sucks. So for a Necrotic week, I would really recommend drop that trait. The Druid potencies aren't that great anyway. It's really worth it to have your file be on demand. You don't want to try and use that and not have it. That can be real bad. Okay, one more pull before boss here. This pull can get a little hairy because you've got Gargans as well as Dark Blades and just quite a bit of damage going out. Definitely one you want to be prepared to kite for. I think you pretty much are always going to have to kite in here at some point unless you've got Incarn going. So I would say that choice of kiting was even a little late, but I did use my vial, so not too bad. I'm just letting my HP get up a little bit, and then we'll dip back in there for a bit, try and get a little more damage out. But as you can see, man, those things hurt. We kind of have to get right back out again. So respect the Gargans. I would say even me here might be getting a little too comfortable with the Gargans. Don't underestimate them, regardless of key level or affix. Okay, so with those down, we've got, we're going to grab double Stoneborns. We're going to grab this one up here. We're going to grab the one right in front of the boss. Alternatively, something you could do is grab the other one to the left here across the courtyard, and then grab this one later after they despawn. But again, in a pug, I'm just kind of playing it safe. 2 Stoneborn should be fine. Tanking this boss is all about positioning. So I like to kind of get close to this wall back here. And then I want to get all these crumbling slams, the red pools, to as close to each other as possible. And what this is going to do, and you can see it's working out really nicely here, it's just going to give us a lot of room to maneuver. We don't want these pools just absolutely all over the place. We want them all clumped up, and we're doing a pretty good job clumping them up right now. This is also range's responsibility too, because those do go on range. And you can see the range here doing a pretty good job. Now, as Halkias' energy starts to approach 100, we're going to back him out into the open, away from all that. He'll do one more slam. You can just sit him right on top of that one, like I did there. And then you've got a nice path for everybody to avoid the refracted sunlight. So that first one went quite well. Everything got nice and stacked up, and then you're just going to repeat. Now, the big mistake that we make here is we bloodlust on Halkias. You don't want to do that. The reason is, in this dungeon, you're only going to get 3 lusts. First pull, last boss, and a middle one. You want to use the middle lust on Echelon. It helps you get ahead of schedule with the ads. The last thing that you want to do is use it on Halkias, and the mage used it here, which really sucks. So lust on Halkias, or excuse me, lust on Echelon, not on Halkias. So we left a real thin path for these guys to get through there. This was not the greatest positioning, but it is going to work. You can see the hunter's he's got it. He's going to slip through there. So it can be done. But yeah, I was late on moving him out here. I think I was talking in Discord to my shaman friend about being annoyed about using lust here. Yeah, don't lust Halkias. This boss is really easy compared to the next one. On a Tyrannical week, like, Echelon kind of is the key in many cases. So if you're at 79.8% after Halkias, you can just invis your way right up the stairs to Echelon. So that's what we're going to do. This is kind of the standard. People seem to know at this point in the expansion that this is pretty much everyone's approach. So just stop at the top and make sure everybody makes it. You don't want to open that door and then realize someone died down on the stairs and now you have to 4-man the boss. So you can see I'm checking, and this hunter says he has to feign death. I guess he used a potion or something. So good thing we checked. So we're going to get Echelon out here. You actually get bonus points if you say trick or treat out loud when you knock on that door to let him out. Not a lot of people know that. But without lust here, you're going to see how bad this is. So I see a lot of offensive cooldowns being used. Probably a better idea to wait until these ads come out, because watch what's going to happen. No lust. Frozen orbs already on cooldown. As well as some other things on there. We're going to remove curse the guy who gets the slam, but look, the ads aren't dead. We didn't kill them fast enough. And so they die right after the slam goes down, which is like the worst thing that can happen. And we'll get a second one, and we will be able to get some of them down. But we're just going to be behind schedule on this boss the entire fight. Another mistake kind of being made here. If you're a ranged player, you don't really want to stand in melee if it's not necessary to do so, because what you do, as you can see here, is you create blood right in the center of the room that we have to maneuver around. If you're a ranged player, it's really nice if you can kind of stay more off to the side and bait those things away. So we've got a lot of ads up here. We're trying to kill them. We do get a lot of ads down there. Let's see who gets the... I get it. So I'm going to break... Looks like the vast majority... Yeah, tons of them right there. So that's good. We're kind of clawing our way back into this. But Echelon is still only at 50%. And I will, again, spoiler alert, tell you this boss is going to take forever for us to kill. It's like a 4+ minute fight, and it absolutely ruins our timer, at least for the time being. So you can see with the blood, in the middle of the room, what happens is we can't really get to some of these ads, and again, they don't die fast enough for the slam. They die after the slam, which is not ideal. Now, if you are a druid or anybody with remove curse, be sure to use it. First priority should be the person who gets the slam. Second priority could probably be the healer, or if there's maybe a DPS that's just absolutely pumping, you could get them too. Tank is not really important to be dispelled, but make sure you use your remove curse. It really helps a lot. So we get yet another one. We have ads absolutely everywhere. We have almost no statues to speak of to actually hit with that. So things are looking pretty yucky here again. Would have been really nice to have Bloodlust here, and possibly have this guy dead by now. Not that I want to make a big deal about it or anything. So our shaman goes down, he pops right back up. Now you can see we've got statues all grouped up there in the back, and then Mage is going to MVP here, and kind of save the key, honestly. So he gets it, ice blocks right in the blood, perfect positioning, and he's going to break a ton of those, and now we have a chance. Before that, it wasn't looking so hot. So anyway, long story short here, lust this boss. Now you can safely incarn the first ad phase of this boss, because you have a pretty long boss fight, and then it's followed by a tormentor. It should be back up by the time you do the big pull with the gargants inside the building. So it's safe to incarn that, and I usually do. Just helps get those ads down really quickly. I'm running out of things to talk about while Echelon dies, because this is like a 4+ minute fight, but thank goodness. 2%, 1%, and he's dead. So Echelon goes down with 11 minutes left. That is sketch. You usually want 12, 13 if you want to time the key. So this is where we're in that situation. What risks do we need to take to time this key? Now, in my mind, I've got like 3 options here. The first risk I could take would be to giant pull all the trash up to the third boss, meaning I'm going to grab the Gargan group as well as the casters in the next group, and I'm going to pull them all the way back out to this room where we're at now. That's pretty dangerous for a pug that has already been somewhat struggling a bit, so I'm not thinking that's the play here. The second option is skipping Oros, which is going to add a considerable level of difficulty to the last boss with his slow aura. And then the third option is going to be bum rushing Sigrun, or whatever his name is, the guy with all the ads. Everybody runs to him, blows all their cooldowns, and you blow him up before he heals. I've had very little luck actually executing that properly in pugs, because if not every single person like commits hard, then not only does it not work, but it actually costs you time, because now he gets to heal off. All your cooldowns are down, and you haven't even started on the ads yet. So the choice I'm going to make here is we're going to try and skip Oros and see if that buys us the time we need. So we'll watch till the end and see how that works out. More Gargans. As I've been saying, we don't have to respect these ones too much, because they're going to die before Incarn goes down. That's the way you want it to happen. And then I almost died having tons of stacks of the dot. So I panic use my Kyrian Vial like an absolute pro. And then we're going to pull these casters back here into this room. Kick the Collect Sins. Dodge the thrusts. Dodge the orange stuff. This stuff is pullable altogether. I've done it. I've seen it done. But, it's going to take a certain amount of confidence in yourself and your group. And it always is going to depend on the affixes as well. We don't want to do that on, say, bolstering, or, even on many fortified weeks. That might not be the play, depending on your group. So once these guys are down, we're skipping Oros, which means we're going to grab the 2 Stoneborns and pull them directly up to the third boss, Adjudicator Alize, which is probably one of the easiest dungeon bosses in the game. Not much fear of her, not much to really say about her either. So we're grabbing double Stoneborns, We're going to pull them up top and use them on Alize, where the only thing you need to really watch is your kick tracker, which you hopefully are using, because the only way you're going to get in trouble here is if everybody tries to kick the first cast and then volleys start going off. But I don't know if I've ever wiped on this boss before, so hopefully you don't either. She's definitely a pretty easy one. So if we look at time here, we got Alize at about 75%. We have the big room with all the ads, and then the last boss to go. Each of these Tyrannical bosses have been taking us roughly 3 to 4 minutes. So I mean, we're definitely not out of the woods yet. I'd say it's still going to be pretty questionable if we're going to be able to do this or not. I'm not sure what exactly it is that's holding us back so much in this key, because we haven't really died at all. Now, the Lust was a miss. Some of the Spiteful has been a little bit questionable. We've wasted some time there. You could argue like maybe the healer isn't doing very much damage at all, but I tend to not care too much about that unless we're talking even higher keys than this. So I'm not sure why it is we're sort of bogged down in the mud here, but we are behind the 8 ball a bit on time. So again, we're taking a risk and we're hoping it pays off. With Alize, again, have a kick tracker. It's a great thing to have. At certain levels of keys, you're going to realize like you need it. And it's also nice to have like a macro that says something in party chat like, I got first kick on this target, so that everybody doesn't kick the first thing, because you will get to that key level where everybody knows what to kick, but they don't think like, I'll let somebody else get it. Everybody hits that kick button and then we got nothing for the next one. So you can kind of mitigate that by having a macro that says something in party chat like, I got kicked on X or whatever, is really helpful. As you can see here on my kick tracker to the left of my party frames, we're doing quite well making sure that we don't stack up our kicks. All right, so Alize is going down. We're not going to bum rush the mob in the next room. So as the tank, we're just going to... Seagar, that's his name. We're going to grab him. We're just going to get some aggro on him, and then we're going to... We don't really need to actively tank him, so we're going to just go blast some Incarn, blast our bond, try and get some aggro on these envies so they're not messing up our DPS or our healer, and we're just gonna do as much AoE damage as we can. We're actually top right now, which is kind of cool, and honestly almost all those ghosts are dead already, so I'd say good decision to not just rush this guy and blow all our cooldowns there. I will see if we made the right play, but right now it's feeling like the right play. So he does get some communions off. That's to be expected. If you don't just rush him right out of the gate, you're going to deal with a couple of those. But then once all those ghosts are dead, we're going to start creeping him over towards the door, because we are going to be right up against it on time. Right now we're at 420 with this guy at 60%. This is going to be real close. And we are going to have that slow aura to consider on that last boss. Where it really affects you the most is with the statues. You need to move immediately or use some kind of movement speed so as not to get hit by those, especially on a Tyrannical week where they hurt quite a lot. And then if you're really ballsy and you also skip Sagadon too, well, they are going to straight up one-shot you 100%. So can't let that happen. All right, so Seagar goes down with 340 to go. So that should be enough time if we say this roughly takes 3 minutes or so. So we're going to grab Lord Chamberlain. We're going to lust like we're supposed to for once. And then as a tank, the main things to look out for here are this Stigma of Pride, the dot, which is, you should definitely use something for it. Frenzied Regen, Bark Skin, both, to just kind of mitigate that for your healer. It does hurt quite a bit. One thing I'm not sure people realize about these statues is that they're statues of Denathrius, I believe, and they'll travel in whatever direction he's facing. So it doesn't really have to do with the line, the red line that's connecting them. It has to do with the way the statue is facing. So look at the statue, that's where to dodge. I feel like people don't know that, so there's a tip for you. With Telekinetic Onslaught or whatever that Ritual of Woe, as a tank, you can pretty easily double soak this by positioning yourself like at the corner of those squares, the tiles that surround him. Doesn't look like I'm able to pull it off there, but I know I get the next one. And it's kind of nice because that thing doesn't really hurt you too bad at all, but it will do some big damage to your DPS. So far so good. We're not getting hit by any statues, and that's going to be the real challenge of this fight since we decided to skip Oros. We got to watch the tosses. Ooh, the Resto Druid gets nailed there, but it only takes him down to about 20% life, so no harm done. Now, once you survive the second ritual, this fight is essentially over. So we're gonna move in close and try and double soak that. And yes, we are able to do that this time. So pop a defensive, and you can see my health isn't even moving. I'm using Incarn because why not? What else are we going to use it for? And then once that's done, the fight is essentially over, except for the fact that this guy's still at 25% with a minute 20 to go. So we're just going to finish this out, manage the dot, dodge all the stuff. And so as it's going to turn out, it was 100% necessary for us to skip Oros, right? This guy's going to die with well under a minute to go, and if we hadn't done that, we would not have timed this key. So this is a good example of taking a risk, like a calculated risk, because you know you need to take one. You're not going to time the key without it. To me, that's smart tanking. Taking risks for no reason is not. So I hope you guys got something out of this. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more WoW content in the future. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.